Today we're going through every single team's 2025 season and grading them on a tier list, S to F. If you guys have not yet subscribed, make sure you do. When we hit 10,000 subscribers on the channel, we're giving away a signed MLB jersey. And big shout out to our members who got to see this video out early. If you'd like to join, you can click the link in the description, click the join button. We appreciate the amazing support you guys have continued to give us. That's enough of my yapping, though. Let's get going into grading these team seasons. It's not going to be just about they made it far. It's about team expectations. It's about quality of play. There's so many different things that go into this. So we're excited to see how you guys react down in the comment section, because I know I got a lot of you guys upset on the last one ranking the video, even though my rankings look very similar to the projected F4 things that just came out on Fangraphs this year. So your boy might know a little more ball than you're giving him credit for.
Yeah, giraffe neck war merchants, exactly what they call you, Mark, these days.
Yes.
But again, like Mark said, we're going to grade these teams on a scale. So just because a team like, say, the Phillies reached the NLDS and lost a tight series to the Dodgers doesn't mean they get an A or a B. It's all about what these teams expected and what they wanted to come out of their own seasons.
Yes, and we're getting started off with a team that I think definitely did not live up to their expectations this year, the Arizona Diamondbacks. They got Corbin Burns this offseason. He got hurt. They made moves. They've got good baseball players. They were in the World Series a couple years ago, and it just felt like from the start of the season, I know at the end they actually ended up being somewhat close to making the postseason, but this was not a very good year for the Diamondbacks, a lost season.
No, in a lost season, we saw it based on the fact that, similar we said in the team ranking video, a team that just didn't have the depth. They couldn't stand up to pitching injuries. They could not stand up to bullpen injuries. They did lose every possible closer they had on their roster as the season went on, but even still, what they were throwing out in their bullpen, even when they were still trying to compete through like June and July, was laughable, to be honest with you guys. And it's kind of, I don't know, maybe it's a lesson in them for team building. Maybe the way they threw the money over the top and signed Corbin Burns was a mistake, and they should have spread that around more so, even though they did want to make that splash. It's a weird season, especially when guys at the top of your roster don't perform like what happened to them.
Yeah, and I think if you would have told a Diamondbacks fan going into the season that Geraldo Perdomo would finish fourth in MVP voting, that Ketel Marte would be one of the best offensive players in baseball, that Corbin Carroll would be fully back, you're like, oh, did we win the National League West? Were we competing with the Dodgers? Like, no, you guys actually sold at the deadline. And I want to talk about that too. I feel like they got nothing for the guys that they traded away. Like we heard all deadline talk about how Suarez and Naylor were some of the most like coveted guys on the market. And then you saw the return. You're like, did you hold on to them too long? Because the returns back for both these guys were pretty underwhelming.
I think it's also a lesson about when teams are sellers just giving up half years of sluggers like that. Funny enough, they got the most for Merrill Kelly. Like Merrill Kelly went for the second or third best prospect package given up at the deadline, and most people wouldn't suspected that. I think we suspected that though when we were just talking about stuff. But I guess probably just a lesson that it's not the wrong thing for the Diamondbacks to have held on to those guys on 1 year deals a year. Maybe there's a conversation about even the Josh Naylor trade. Like I know where it did work out for them, but 1 year of Josh Naylor was going to be 6 years of Slade Ciccone, when Slade Ciccone, I don't think he's special by any means, but Slade Ciccone would have been such a godsend for this team as a four-starter. It would have changed everything.
Yeah, Ryan Nelson's their ace right now, and while I love Ryan Nelson as a pitcher, I think having a Slade Ciccone in that rotation would make you feel a lot better than what they currently have right now, because their pitching really is just absolutely depleted. I think we all know this is a disappointing season for the Diamondbacks. I don't think that they're going to get a high grade. You want to do a little 3, 2, 1 countdown for us here, James?
Yeah, I'm down. 3, 2, 1, D.
D. Bang. Nice. We're off to a great start. Double D's from the boys. All right. Next up, we've got the Atlanta Braves. And I'm just going to take my victory lap again real quick. Nobody called the Atlanta Braves season like I called the Atlanta Braves season. I had them missing the playoffs in my season predictions. The hate always wins. No, that's not true. Hate won in this scenario for the Atlanta Braves because they really didn't improve last offseason. They play the poor game every single offseason, despite being owned by like a rich conglomerate. They like to pretend like they don't have any money. And for once, the Alex Anthopoulos Greek voodoo magic finally wore off. It was a terrible season for the Braves, not even close to the playoffs.
No, season from hell, I think a Braves fan would tell you. And again, you getting that right was really good because broken clocks, like we know, are right twice a day. But there seemed to be this kind of thing that happens. You do say this all the time, that if a team's not getting better, they're getting worse. Similar thing happened to the Orioles this year, who are coming up literally next when we do this. But you have to give the guys in the locker room a reason to get excited. And I know the Braves look, and they still even are right now, I would tell you the Braves are one of the most complete teams in baseball.
We both did, yeah.
As they're currently constructed at this exact moment, possibly a top 5 team in the league. But again, you just need to give the guys something to get excited about, something to hang their hats on. And then also with this, you have big reliance on guys who are coming back from serious injuries in Spencer Strider and Ronald Acuna Jr.
On top of already relying on Chris Sale, who, while was incredible the prior year, so ridiculously good, he sleeps funny and he can't pitch. Like, they relied so much on injuries. It was a tough task.
And the one free agent you actually did go out and sign, because it was basically one free agent they went out and signed last offseason, got popped for PEDs right away. So it was a very weird emotional season for the Braves. Also, you know how many plate appearances Matt Olson had this year?
He's 700.
724.
Yeah, I think he
I've
played.
never
he played
seen
every
that
single
many.
game, right?
Every single game. And he only had 29 homers, which is kind of hilarious to think about with a 270 average. It's a really weird Matt Olson season. But
I also think there's a conversation to have with the Braves too, where like this team, like we think of, I mean, Matt Olson's still great, Ronald Acuna Jr. is still great, Austin Riley's still great, but we have seen down seasons now a little more than we expected. Like maybe they're not. I think Acuna is different. He's still incredible. But like maybe Austin Riley and Matt Olson aren't the players that they were 2 years ago. Is that a fair statement to make?
there's something weird that I'm always going to think about the Braves. I think it can be really well illustrated by looking at Ronald Acuna Jr.'s full career strikeout rate by season. I'm going to read these numbers out for you guys, and you tell me.
Are we hinting at the Whistler?
You tell me which of these, I think 8 things, he has 8 seasons now, doesn't sound like the other.
Okay.
25%, 26%, 30%, 24%, 24%, 11%, 24%, 25%.
I'm going to guess the 11% season.
How'd that happen? Every single guy in this team, I'm not accusing anyone of anything, but literally, how in the world does Ronald Acuna Jr.'s strikeout rate get cut by more than half for 1 year of his career and not stay there?
Yeah. Matt Olson, too, had that for 1 year as well, I believe, where his strikeout rate was the lowest it had ever been by a lot.
Austin Riley, too, weirdly, it's been weirdly now the last 2 years a lot more mid than excellent from Austin Riley. I'm still going to go back down that path next year in fantasy baseball, but
of course.
There's also a weird thing about the Braves. 2 funny takes that have come out about this team and this core. I don't know if there's any validity to either. One I like more than the other, but I want to hear your takes on them.
Okay.
When you lock up a core like this, is it easy to just get kind of complacent when like 6 of the 9 guys in your starting lineup, 6 of the 8 players have not nothing to play for, but you have the contract ready to go. You're locked in for 5, 6, 7 years. Like, does that change the day-to-day hunger of a baseball team?
I think 100%, especially for a team that has won as well in the past. Like, not that I don't think it's fair to say like any of these guys are dogging or not trying harder, don't want to win. But there definitely is something that we probably can't quantify that happens when you've reached the peak already. You got your bag. That maybe the same hunger that was once there isn't the same anymore. And I think that's possible.
Yeah, it's an unconscious thing going on. It's involuntary. Again, it's not about effort or anything. And another thing that the Braves do, and I think they do proudly, that no one else in Major League Baseball really does right now, and I think that's relevant, they're not a load management team.
No.
The Braves send these guys out there every single year. Like we just said it, Matt Olson had 724 plate appearances this year. Ozzie Albies played 157 bad games. Michael Harris, 160. Marcell Ozuna even got to 145.
And Michael Harris was one of the worst players in baseball this year, and they were like, every day, Michael Harris, get back out there.
One of the worst hitters, not one of the worst players. He still plays good defense out there. But there probably is something about especially there's also a team that for the last 5 consecutive years, 6 consecutive years, went to the postseason, often won a round. Not often. Actually, not really won rounds that often, but you're still playing extra games. You're still playing more baseball. That all adds up time over time. And there's probably just a little bit less of a spring in some of these guys' steps from playing 160 compared to like 145. Like the team, like the Dodgers will always give guys off. Like the teams that seem to be a little bit more.
Dodgers had less innings thrown by their starting pitchers this year than the Mets.
Jeez. I don't even. Why'd you say that? I don't even. That's not conceivable.
Yeah, think about that.
Nick Allen played 135 games. Nick Allen
has too many.
416 plate appearances. And also, like, there should be some things that we're talking about positive for this team. I think the emergence of Drake Baldwin is so relevant.
He's awesome. He's so good.
He's an incredible player. Still has some deficiencies in the run game, but as a pure hitter, he looks like could be an easy top 7 hitter catcher in the league next year. I think Schwellenbach, when he was on the mound, he's really asserted himself as one of the 15 or so best pitchers in the league. I think Grant Holmes provided good depth this year, but I don't know what's coming out. Justin Waldrop took a huge step forward. Like, there were good, serious, positive things that happened from this Brave season, but this overwhelming failure, of course.
3, 2, 1,
F.
Yeah, fuck them. Fuck with the Braves. Put them in the F. There's not many times we get to do that in our lifetime as Mets fans, so I'm glad that we get to do it for this one.
100%.
Next up, Baltimore Orioles. Man, we are really going through the gauntlet of disappointing seasons here because a team that I think had World Series aspirations, even though we knew that this was an incomplete roster going into the season. No one expected them to be as bad as they were this year. This was a nightmare season. Adley hurt, wasn't playing well. Gunnar took a while to get going. They had zero pitching. Everything that could have gone wrong for the Orioles this year did.
Yeah, and it is a shame because I think this Orioles team is one that over the last few years we as baseball fans enjoyed to root for because they were like fun. They went through a horrible rebuild. They had like a exciting core, big time prospects. Gunnar was like a straw that stirred the drink. Everyone loves Adley, but it was horrific. There wasn't even they got down so bad early in the season that they actually had a good second half and were nowhere close to pulling themselves out of the hole.
No, I remember the conversation was like, ooh, can the Orioles do enough to make the playoffs like with a good second half? You're like, they're going to have to go 60-10. So
Yeah.
no, like to make it to 500, they had to play like 25 games above 500 to even get there in the second half. It was a horrible year. And I don't even really, it's crazy. I don't even think there's that much to talk about with how bad their season was. They just stunk.
Well, I think there's a similar idea here that we talked about the Braves, where you had a few successful seasons in a row, you struggle to get over the hump, and then you go into an offseason where you could make a big move. I'm not saying that re-signing Corbin Burns would have been right because he blew out his arm immediately, but it's just you had the seventh highest starters ERA in all baseball last year, 4.6 ERA from the Baltimore Orioles starters.
And
Can't do that.
they did get some injuries too, like obviously no Bradish
Totally.
for a while. Grayson Rodriguez became incapacitated to play.
You came into the season knowing that from both of those guys.
Well, didn't Grayson get hurt in like spring training? Wasn't that the early spring training news?
He did, but Grayson Rodriguez hasn't really been healthy ever. So like
yeah.
to have gone to the season when you actually have true championship, at least division winning aspirations, and be like, yeah, that guy's going to be our ace, Grayson Rodriguez. Like that's not being realistic. You even got one of the craziest stories in baseball this year from the Orioles with Trevor Rogers coming out of the doldrums and having a 1.8 ERA over 110 innings.
You know what his middle name is?
Oh, we did this recently. It was
I know.
So weird, right?
Jadaniel.
Trevor
Daniel.
It's unbelievable. He also had a great spot in foul territory towards the end of the year where they're like, what's been the reason for this turnaround? He was like, honestly, guys, I got yoked. He's like, I hit the gym. I wasn't strong enough to be a major league pitcher anymore. I had to get a few more ticks of velocity. I need to get better sustaining my stamina. Like, it was cool to hear him talk so contritely about that. I was like, yeah, dude, gym, steak, chicken, pasta, that's all you need. But what a disgusting, disastrous season from them.
And also, like, they got no jump forwards from any of their younger guys. Like, Holiday is like, he kind of plateaued last year where, like, there were moments, but he was basically a league average player. Colton Cowser had a bad season. Everyone that they expected to step up just really didn't do much. They're still, I think, going to be able to bounce back and be a relative playoff team, especially if they go out and make some moves. Like, I don't think they stink similar to the Braves, but I think this season was one that you hope to forget as an Orioles fan.
Also, Eflin was a big move for them. He was unpitchable in the back, pop back up. Like Charlie Morton, that was a really good try. But like what are you guys thinking here? Like Dean Kramer was exactly Dean Kramer again. Cade Povich, I think there's big questions on whether or not he could be a true starter in this league. Still love Bradish. Talent-wise, him coming back at the end of the year.
He looked awesome.
Doing what he did, being better coming off Tommy John, better moving profile in his fastball, I think was really cool. But there was Kobe Mayo also looking like just the bat's really going to have to carry that profile, and the bat wasn't great this first time around. Mountcastle might be a non-tender guy, which is amazing considering where he began. Like, it's very weird, very bad season for them.
3, 2, 1,
F.
Yeah, they're also an F too. That's a clear one. All right, we're moving into some positives here, guys. Boston Red Sox. I don't think it was ultimately the season that they hoped it the way that it would end, but this felt like a good year from the Red Sox in 2025.
What? This felt like a great year from the Red Sox in 2025. I think that
it also was weird though too, because you had the whole in between, like all the good stuff that was going on. They just like got rid of Rafael Devers for nothing at one point, that was still so crazy.
It is crazy to think about, but I do think that on the field, of course, the Red Sox got worse. But I think if you ask most Red Sox fans, I know there is the contingency of Red Sox fans that are like responding to every single media availability by Breslow, looking like we need a middle of the order power bat, being like, oh, I wonder if we can find one of those. But there probably is some element of addition by subtraction that happened with getting rid of Devers. Like I think he's still a great player, and I think they truthfully kind of did him dirty with the way they handled the offseason, communicated with him poorly, especially Breslow, who was a former player. Amazing that he wouldn't know how a former player would respond to the way that the things that they were doing, but the team caught life once that guy was gone.
That's what I was going to say. Yeah.
When you see that happen, it's like, all right, maybe there was something there.
Yeah, like, and then you look at the production that they got out of guys. Like Garrett Crochet became one of the, at worst, 3 best pitchers on the planet, maybe 4 at worst. Roman Anthony is going to be an MVP candidate for the next 7 years of his career. He's unbelievable. Wilyer Abreu is a dog. You got good performances out of like Carlos Narvaez became a guy that you're like, that's our everyday catcher. Like that's a guy who's going to play good defense, be behind the dish for the next couple of years and be absolutely free. Bregman was great. You saw some sparks out of guys while Christian Campbell stunk by the end of it. There were still the sparks in there that make you believe in him as a player moving forward. Ceddanne Rafaela is one of the best defensive outfielders in baseball.
Mm-hmm.
The bullpen got better. Aroldis Chapman is disgusting. Like Loki did a lot of things right this year.
You got a lot of shit in the last video because you said their bullpen is dog shit, and last year they had the second lowest bullpen ERA in baseball.
I do still think it's dog shit.
It's definitely pretty good.
I like Chapman. The rest of the guys, I still don't know how much I truly trust, but that's also probably just a little of modern bullpen where it's like they don't have the sexy names, but the guys get the job done. Like Slayton is one of those where like not a sexy name, but Slayton comes out and shoves.
Totally, but there's also a thing with bullpen ERAs where there was the same difference between the Red Sox and the Padres 1 and 2 as there was between the Red Sox and the between 10 and 11, the Cubs and the Cardinals. So it's it's a big mashup of the bullpen. I still think it's a fine bullpen. It's led by Chapman. There's no Justin Slayton slander on this channel, but
no, I didn't slander him.
They are like one off season away, I think, from doing some crazy shit. I wonder if that is Bregman coming back. I actually think everybody wants that to happen. I do wonder about what the future is like for a guy like Jarren Duran, if he's even on this team next year, because it seems like there's not much space. I wonder what they're going to do at first base. Like they have a lot of avenues to get a lot better very quickly. There's a lot of trust in the internal processes on that team.
Yeah, Brian Bayo became a legitimate starter, which is huge because it had always been waiting for him to actually figure it out. This team's, like you said, a few moves away from being like, oh, that's like the best team in the American League. And they're dangerously close. I'd like to see where we're going to rank their season, James. 3, 2, 1, A.
Ooh, okay. I'm down for either of those, especially seeing the way like the prospects develop, seeing like Connolly early and Peyton Toley get to the major leagues and do what they were able to do short term. Like there's
here's why I'll give you B. They got bounced in the first round by the Yankees.
Yeah. If they would have been able to win a playoff round, I think that would have been very relevant for them. But like even just the Roman Anthony thing could have given them an A.
Yes, and if they had Roman Anthony, they'd probably beat the Yankees. So
it's a good chance of that.
All right, Chicago Cubs. This is a fun one to talk about because we know as an organization, just absolute disgrace. The Ricketts are just terrible. That they openly talk about that we're only doing this to figure out how to run a profit on this team. The fact that when you look at how much revenue they bring in versus how much money they spend on the team, they're consistently one of the lowest percentages of doing so. But at the same time, like they won a lot of games. They played well on the field. I think the National League's a little more confusing with expectations than the American League because while the Cubs can pretend like they wanted to win the World Series, like it's tough to be like in the National League, the Cubs should have won the World Series. But they brought in Kyle Tucker. Weird things were with this team, but still a good year, I think, at the end of the day.
It's funny, for a big chunk of this season, I think that they were considered one of the biggest threats to the Dodgers along with the Phillies until the Brewers went berserk through the summer. But I think
part of that was PCA playing at an MVP level. And then once he came back down to earth, you're like, oh, the ceiling of this team did drop quite a bit.
Yeah, but I think that's also fair. I think PCA is what you got out of PCA last year, which was the best defense in baseball and a 10% better than league average bat who got to 30 homers. Like that is
sign up for it.
It's the best case scenario, probably forever for PCA, but we'll digress on that. Like this team was really well constructed. They had a great offseason. Well, now maybe not so great considering what's going to happen with Kyle Tucker after this, but like the signings of Matthew Boyd bringing him in there, the way they built this bullpen on the fly when it was one of the worst bullpens in the league early in the season, and then wound up being one that was relative strength by playoff time, not like a super strength, but one that you didn't really feel like was the reason they were losing these games. Like it was true. We hate the Cubs on this channel. I think an impressive season of team building from Jed Hoyer and the crew.
We hate the Cubs.
We hate the Ricketts. We hate the Ricketts.
I have actually no hatred for the Cubs at all. I like the Cubs. They were losers. They're lovable losers. But yeah, the ownership's the problem there. I will say though, it's the fact that they laid down like so much. It felt like against the Brewers, and then the Brewers had not a chance against the Dodgers.
Well, they laid down. They pushed the game 5. They went down. They came back.
But like in the games that they lost, they had no chance of ever winning those games. And it's like I felt like the ones that they won, they like sneaked by them.
that series hasn't even begun yet. We're waiting for Game 6 because the home team never lost.
That's true. That is
Yeah,
true.
and like it's kind of cool to see that like Michael Bush took a
Michael
magnificent
Bush had
step
an
forward.
incredible season. Yeah.
Like Carson Kelly had a great season offensively and defensively. Carson Kelly had a really good season. Like Ian Happ had another exactly perfectly constructed Ian Happ season.
How about our boy Seiya? Seiya,
Seiya's
one of
awesome.
the most underrated hitters in baseball. Love Seiya Suzuki.
Same with like Nico Horner, like everything now clicked in the right direction for like the strict batted ball profile. He looked like a star in the playoffs too with his defense, athleticism, everything. Dansby had
Matt
you know,
Shaw became an MLB player. Like
yeah, that's one of the concerns I think with this team is they handed the keys to Matt Shaw maybe a little too quickly. He seemed so overmatched from game 1 to game 162. He never really felt like a major league player.
No, he hit at points, but we don't know how sticky that stuff is for like his batted ball outcome. They got Daniel Palencia, who's like disgusting.
Love that guy. Brad Keller, now he's going to be a free agent there. I'm sure they're not going to re-sign him, but Brad Keller is going to be like a coveted free agent pitcher, and they kind of did it out of nowhere. Caleb Thielbar was awesome for them. The third Drew Pomeranz revival from the dirt was amazing. Andrew Kittredge on loan from the Orioles was a huge success. Like there was a lot to hang their hats on for the Cubs.
Give me a countdown, James.
All right. 3, 2, 1,
B. Yeah. Okay.
Good
I was thinking about C, but they did have a lot of
No,
on the field
season.
players developing, which that made me push to B. But like I don't know, getting knocked out that early, it was tough for that team that I think had higher expectations. All right, Chicago White Sox. This team sucks, but maybe this was not the worst season for them. Can I say that?
I'm happy you started there because I was going to not wax poetic about the White Sox, but be
No,
like,
don't you dare.
if you guys are White Sox fans and you took in this season, and you've taken in the last 3, this is by far the best you've felt in a long time. Like this was the beginning of seeing what could possibly be a competitive baseball team in the future, and that has to feel like better than the energy of 1,000 suns.
Yeah, I mean they won 60 games, and that was somehow 20 games better than they did last year. So like this team got better. This team was significantly better than they were the previous year. They were the worst team in baseball history. And when you look around this roster, while I don't think like Miguel Vargas had his moments, but like the guys that I really want to talk about are the young guys that actually got the shot at the end of the year, like Colson Montgomery, Kyle Teal.
Yeah.
Those look like legitimate pieces that they're going to be able to get some good players around. And even having a guy like Chase Mydroth, who, again, I don't think he's ever going to be much of a hitter, but it seems like he's at least a major league player. When you looked at this team just a year ago, you had like a major league player on the roster.
Totally, especially thinking about Mydroth, Kyle Teal, and then looking at what Braden Montgomery was able to do in the minor leagues, the big pieces, including Wilkeman back from the Red Sox for Garrett Crochet. Like that was while you watch Garrett Crochet blossom and do what he did. Like that sucks, but like you got true roster building blocks. I think Kyle Teal's a piece. Kyle Teal's a ball player.
I've told you about you were when that Crochet trade came through.
Anti.
I was like, you were anti, and I was like, dude, Teal and Braden Montgomery are like legit good ball players.
I like Braden Montgomery a lot, but I still wanted to see more of Kyle Teal's tools because the whole thing with Kyle Teal was like he's a well-rounded baseball player, but I didn't see any pop or flash. But now watching him play, like watching him be a leadoff hitter for a chunk of the year, that's also our Jersey boy right there. But
yes,
it's cool to watch him become something that could be something that they lead on. And Colson Montgomery. Colson Montgomery's had such a weird run of being a top prospect the last few years when like if you like got hit in the head and spun around 3 times and then put a blindfold on, take it off, and you have the sun in your eyes, you'd be like, "Is that Corey Seager?" Like,
yeah.
It's like he stands like Corey Seager. Like, there's something there, and the way
that was his comp when he was getting drafted too. They were like Corey Seager. This is Corey Seager.
It's Corey Seager if he made no good swing decisions and swung and missed a lot more. But still, a 23-year-old. He played shortstop well defensively, like, and he could plop a bunch of homers. Like the on base percentage is never sneaking over 320, but like you could have a 30 homer shortstop next year, Chicago. Like that's cool.
I also like they crushed the Rule 5 draft. That shows at least competency in the front office that they really have lacked in the future. That being said, though, you still can't really give them a great grade, in my opinion, because you won 60 games.
No, for sure. But this is all on the curve. They were coming off a season where they were the worst team in the history of baseball.
Yes.
So I think that, I don't know, the fact that you look at Shane Smith and you're like, and even a guy like Davis Martin, like these guys could be your boy Sean Burke. Like,
love Sean Burke.
Those guys could be a 3-4-5 on a team that contends for 500.
Yeah.
Right?
So Yeah, I totally. They could definitely be 4s and 5s. 3s, we might be pushing on the 3s outside of Shane Smith, but
I find myself coming back to Davis Martin. Davis Martin got a nice little
he throws like
fastball
7 pitches, doesn't he? Isn't that his thing too?
and he's got it's a fastball that gets you there. Like he
It's
also
a fastball. He feels like Dean Kramer to me. I don't know why.
I mean maybe the name D, but like I just in my job for NBC Sports, like I cover a lot of baseball games on the in the East Coast time zone. So I covered too many Davis Martin starts this year, and I was like, you know what, like fastball, sinker, cutter. Like I see something there. He can't throw a breaking ball. It's gonna be a big problem for a right-handed pitcher that can't throw a breaking ball. Like maybe just get that slider going at some point. But like I see a path. I see an avenue.
All right, ready?
Yeah.
3, 2, 1, C.
C.
Yeah, nice.
Perfect.
Okay. I was like, you can't put him in B, James.
No, I was arguing unconsciously for the C. I was hoping you weren't going to give a D, and I was going to have to argue against him.
No, that was for the White Sox standard. A C is an incredible year from them.
Amazing too, like Sean Burke. Like there's something there with some of these guys. Something.
Cincinnati Reds made the playoffs despite Ellie De La Cruz not having a good year.
And Matt McClain having a bad year.
Matt McClain having a bad year, but the pitching was money. Like, I don't really know how Andrew Abbott does it. I'll never understand. It won't ever make sense watching him pitch how in that ballpark he doesn't just absolutely, to take Keith Hernandez's favorite thing, get his tits lit. But like they made the postseason in spite of having an incredibly mediocre roster.
Yeah. But
that also feels like it's because it took the Mets having a catastrophic season. It took the Diamondbacks having a catastrophic season. It took the Braves having a catastrophic season. I'm like, I don't really know how much they really earned it rather than it fell into their lap.
I mean, there's part of both of those things happening at the same time. Like if they would have had anything go wrong, they wouldn't have done that either.
True.
They patched together the middle of this roster, I think, in a really cool way. Like Emilio Pagan having a sensational season as a closer with a 30% strikeout rate. Like that was something that was like really one of the keys to their team. The fact that they traded for Brady Singer, not a sexy move. Brady Singer for Jonathan India. But Jonathan India was one of the worst hitters in baseball.
Horrible.
And Brady Singer threw 170 of 4.0 ERA, like in one of the hardest parks to pitch. Like that is really relevant to becoming a playoff team. Having a 3-4 guy like that be good. Like Nick Lodolo, 28 starts. You're so happy to watch Nick Lodolo do that. Like Hunter Green didn't even make 20 starts, and you're still like, this could easily be one of the 5 or 10 best pitchers in baseball, stuff wise. Like they got Chase Burns up after 1 year after being drafted. I know the ERA was really high, but you watch that guy pitch, you're like, holy shit.
Yeah, he got screwed by that one start against the Red Sox where he got 1 out and gave up 7 runs. Otherwise, I think his ERA was like 3.2 for his innings.
No, he looks like an absolute like superstar in the making. And again, the guys in their lineup you thought were going to be driving the car in Ellie and Matt McClain. Matt McClain was unplayable by the end of the season, and Ellie had his worst season as a big leaguer, while also like cutting the strikeout rate, which everybody's always been obsessed with Ellie for a long time. So it's funny, but it was fine season.
3, 2, 1, B. Okay,
yeah,
good. I was like, in spite of how poorly they actually played, they still made the playoffs. So it's still pretty good.
Yeah, Santiago Espinal took 328 plate appearances. They made the playoffs.
That's just like crazy.
Shout out Noelvi Marte. I like Noelvi Marte for next year.
Noelvi Marte. You mentioned Santiago Espinal taking 328 plate appearances. Also, like Will Benson took another 250. Jake Fraley took 200. Like some of the guys on this roster are like, what in the fuck is going on with this team?
No, next year you got to give Sal Stewart the keys somewhere because that boy can rake.
Cleveland Guardians.
What a weird.
I mean, they had two players get basically banned for baseball for gambling on it, but their manager won Manager of the Year. So,
2 years in a row.
Yeah.
Well, they were gambling the whole time.
They made the playoffs, and I don't know how. I don't know how they keep doing it. Not quite sure. The roster's horrible.
Not that different feeling of a season from the Reds, right?
Yes and no. Because, like, okay, so if we're the Guardians, like, J-Ram, that's the offense. It's Jose Ramirez. That's how they score. That's how they do anything on this team. Pitching-wise, they just had innings, and their bullpen is disgusting. Their bullpen is phenomenal. Always is. Hunter Gaddis, Cade Smith, those guys are crazy. And before Emmanuel Clase got suspended, Emmanuel Clase was also really fucking good.
Actually, he wasn't good at the beginning of this year, remember?
Did he struggle that hard? I thought he had, like...
His April was disaster.
Yeah, but he
pulled the nose up.
Yeah, he pitched until June, didn't he?
Yeah, but I think maybe the pressure was on. You never know.
I don't know. I like in my head, I go, this team makes the playoffs. Like that's an unbelievable. Every time they make the postseason, it's unbelievable to me.
Yeah. Also, this one was more so unbelievable because of how well they did play down the stretch, and again, just like with the power of friendship. Also, give another little bit of credit for Kyle Manzardo. I think Kyle Manzardo proved himself to be a major league first base DH kind of guy. Like Kyle
Yeah.
Manzardo's going to hit 30 homers for each of the next few years. Like that was a good pull by them. And
One of their 2 hitters that was above league average. This
Yeah.
like looking at these OPS pluses is crazy. Like this team, J Ram 137, Kyle Manzardo 110. The next highest was Steven Kwan at 96. That's 4% worse than league average. That's crazy.
But that's kind of the team they built here. Like Bo Naylor had a flop of a season, really, really awful. Good defender, but like not a good season. And I don't know. This does come back to I mentioned Slade Ciccone coming out of kind of nowhere, but like that being like a guy who could just be the 4 in your rotation, eat those innings for you, give yourself a chance to win some of these games. Like Gavin Williams, massive step forward. I think you can kind of rely on Gavin Williams to be not a front of the rotation guy, but like a good starting pitcher. Like it's
Joey Cantillo, your boy.
I love Joey Cantillo, the Mr. Extension, but like it's a fun, weird team, and the way we'll talk about the Guardians every time on this channel. But just please spend some money. Just do something to help this core, please.
Put some
Or
guys around
help
J-Ram.
J-Ram. Anything.
3, 2, 1, A.
B. Oh.
Ooh. I was gonna say, so having 2 players cheating, bad, real
Yeah.
bad. They made the playoffs without Emmanuel Clase and one of the guys that they relied to be a starter. And again, how do they do it? I don't know how they do it.
All right, I'll give you the A. They made the playoffs, but like give them a higher grade than the Red Sox when the Red Sox also made the playoffs, but also lost in the first round to their rival.
Much better team, though.
I guess, yeah, that's the curve. That's the
curve.
grading
That's the
scale.
curve. It's just like that Guardians team sucks. Like that team stinks.
It also would have been funny to have the CCC all next to each other.
That would have been good. Ooh,
yeah.
maybe we just do that. And BCC.
BCC.
Oh no, we got to just leave
BCC,
it like that. Then.
BCC.
Yeah. Colorado Rockies.
Well, I mean, what is there to say?
There's really almost nothing to talk about, right?
Yeah, they suck ass. There's no path forward. They actually weirdly spend more money than a lot of these other bottom dweller teams and still just suck ass.
They killed my boy Chase Dolander. Chase Dolander on the road is exactly what we expected, which is a very good starter. And when he goes into Colorado, as you can imagine, he gets absolutely crushed. And they keep drafting pitchers. How is that even a thing they're doing?
Well, what else are you going to do? Not have any pitchers?
Yes, have no pitchers.
What are you going to do?
Sell out on hitting. We're going to try and score 18 runs a game and give up 15. I think that's the future for the Rockies because it doesn't work. And you can't draft fastball guys. You need sinker guys. When they were successful, who were their best pitchers? Like Aaron Cook, who's like, you're going to hit the ball into the ground every single time.
It is funny though. There is like for the first time in a little bit. Actually, it's not true because they always have a good feels like a good core of position players. Like if you tell me Jordan Beck, Hunter Goodman, Brenton Doyle, Ezekiel Tovar, I'm like I objectively like those guys.
Yes,
as guys.
I like those players. Yeah, they're good. Hunter Goodman had a fantastic season.
Very good season, Hunter Goodman, one of the best catchers in the league. Brenton Doyle also still plays amazing defense, but
can't hit.
Can't hit. Like he could be a player. It's just this team.
They actually have phenomenal defense. Ezekiel Tovar, great defense. Brenton Doyle, great defense, and they make it possible to still not win almost any baseball games.
I give him credit for finally trading Ryan McMahon. Thank God.
Yep. So that was big for the Monfort family.
But yeah, and also like a flamethrowers in the bullpen. Something went right there.
Yeah, they do have a lot of guys that throw really hard.
That worked out, but yeah, let's count them down.
3, 2, 1.
F.
Yeah, it can't go anywhere besides that, despite having good seasons from like a Hunter Goodman. But that's pretty much the only bright spot. All right, Detroit Tigers. This team, similarly, I don't think it's very good, but they had a great season, and they, for most of the year, record-wise, were the best team in the American League.
And saved themselves because there was a world where the Detroit Tigers would have had one of the most disappointing seasons in the league.
Mets-like collapse, 2007.
Yeah, they luckily won like a few extra games at the end, and that put them in position to win a playoff round over a rival, a wild card round over a rival, and then really just be absolutely on the razor's edge to advancing to the ALCS.
Yeah.
Like they did it was a fun run for the Tigers. Like that Tigers Mariners game
was awesome.
Got overshadowed by the Dodgers Blue Jays game, but it was such a great watch. Like such an amazing night of baseball there. I don't know. I struggle to be super vindictive about this team because they were totally just fine.
Yeah, I think the expectations that you had for them and what they did, I think were pretty in line. Like as a fan, you're disappointed there wasn't more, But I don't think if you're a Tigers fan who's like, I can't believe we didn't make it to the ALCS, or like pissed that you came that close to making it there and being like, this season was a failure, like you might want to take a look in the mirror and remember
Yeah.
like this is the Tigers still at the end of the day. It's not the most complete roster. Skubal's awesome. We know that. Best pitcher in baseball. The bullpen, really good. Like they patch it together and they still get Will Vest, who was a dog this year. Brian Herder gave you 63 innings of like a 2 ERA. Brent Hanafy. Like you didn't know most of these names coming into the season if you were the average baseball fan. Your boy Troy Melton's going to be a stud.
Troy's an animal.
They hit. Like Torkelson had a good year. 30 home runs. Riley Green, I know Tigers fans hate him. 806 OPS, 30 home runs, 111 RBIs. Who gives a shit about his strikeouts? They had a good season. Kerry Bonds. Like I think it was still a good season for the Tigers all in all.
I do think that the one thing a Tigers fan would say that was disappointing, especially about the season, was the way they handled the trade deadline.
But that seems to be the MO of this team, because the year before they did nothing to it at the
They
deadline
sold.
as well. Yeah.
They sold at the deadline. But I think that is something where you got literally one run away from reaching the ALCS. And that was also probably an ALCS, considering what happened with the Mariners and Blue Jays, that you could have won, especially with Tarek Skubal just winning you games. Like the fact that you went out your trade deadline, your big moves were Charlie Morton and Chris Paddock, who combined for 73 innings with an ERA around 6.2. You can't really do that. I know Kyle Finnegan got hurt, but he was quite good when they got him. He showed some real adjustments that actually might put him back in ninth inning mix for whoever signs him this offseason. You just felt like there was more to have been able to bite off there. You weren't really able to pull off. I think that's very disappointing.
All right. 3, 2, 1. B.
C.
Ooh. You're going C.
I would look back at a team that had a huge lead that you thought should have competed to reach the World Series. And they were kind of like the classic. Yeah, we all did this in college, last 2 weeks of the semester, you do as much as you can. It makes the whole thing look good. You get your grade point average back up. But if you actually had to, everyone's right. It had to be. If you were to grade this season objectively, like I know it's going to look strange with the Guardians being an A and the Tigers being a C, but we're grading on a curve for what you had. And the Tigers have had a pretty good roster, a decent core, a 20-game lead at one point, and they pissed themselves.
I'll give you the Tigers C, because you gave me the Guardians A. I'll give you the Tigers C.
Just to really rile people up out
here. Yeah, this is the windup. We know what we're doing over here. All right, Houston Astros up next.
Ugh.
Yeah, trading away Kyle Tucker. What a horrible taste to start the season. This is a frustrating organization.
This is one that, if I was a fan right now, I think I'd be more nostalgic of what just happened rather than hopeful about what I think will happen.
Yeah, because until they make the moves this offseason, it's hard to know if they will. They really haven't been spending money well the last few ones. Like, think of some of their biggest moves, and it's like, oh, Christian Walker, bad. Jose Abreu, disaster. Isaac Paredes was a great acquisition back in the Kyle Tucker trade. Like, at least they got some value, but it's hard to sell me on a team that missed the playoffs, had playoff aspirations, had probably World Series aspirations going into the season. They missed the playoffs. They got rid of a superstar player, and you don't really feel great about what their 2026 outlook could be moving forward.
No, but funny enough, I do feel pretty confident in what the Astros lineup will be.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about that in our rankings. We're like, the lineup is still going to be one of the better lineups, especially in the American League.
Truthfully, like I don't think you get another disaster season from Yandy Diaz, but I think also now you've realized the superstar potential you thought you had on him might not be present until he can clean up the swing decisions. Like Christian Walker, the second half was fine. It was adequate. Christian Walker. It was like a 115, 120 OPS plus. Like you'll get that again. Altuve is a good player, not a great player anymore, but I think that's understandable. Jeremy Pena was a great player. He might revert back to being a good player, but you split the difference of those guys there. You hope Cam Smith takes a step. A full season of Correa, you hope helps a lot. And I don't know what the fuck happened to Yordan Alvarez this year, but you hope that just doesn't happen again. And then you again,
those knees.
It should be a top 7 lineup in baseball. It's just this team's rotation has a chance to be an unmitigated disaster.
Yeah, and it kind of was last year. Like
Hunter fine though.
Hunter Brown and Framber Valdez did the heavy lifting, but after those guys, they almost got nothing out of anybody. I guess Brandon Walter gave you 9 good starts.
Brandon Walter was awesome for those 9 starts. Don't you disrespect Brandon Walter on my watch. I love that guy.
But Christian Javier came back, stunk. Ronel Blanco blew out his arm.
Also wasn't good.
Spencer Arrighetti stunk. Wesneski was not very good.
No, Wesneski he had the elements of being good, but then he also blew out his arm.
Yeah. You had Colton Gordon, who pitched like way more than I think you'd ever like. Lance McCullers, in the moments that he pitches, wasn't good. The trade deadline was bizarre because Jesus Sanchez was one of the worst acquisitions of the deadline.
Damn shame.
They also did bring back Carlos Correa. Like this was such a weird season for the Astros, but ultimately I think it was a disappointing one for all sides.
Totally. You also felt the depth in the bullpen get stressed when Josh Hader got hurt and Brian Abreu moved up, and then Steven Okert moves up. Again, still very good bullpen with those guys like Abreu, Okert, King, Ben D'Souza were all awesome. But it's just I said in the ranking video, you used to be very confident if you were an Astros fan that the next guy up would fill in, you wouldn't miss a beat. And this year, you realize that's not true anymore. And again, it was a cataclysmic amount of pitching injuries, but losing Framber, who covered up for a lot of these deficiencies, and we're assuming he's gone. I think he's gone. I mean, I think 80% chance he's not an Astro next year at least.
Yeah, probably not.
There needs to be some real investment into this team because this year was disappointing and there's not a lot of pitching in the pipeline like there used to be.
Give me a countdown, James.
All right. 3, 2, 1, D.
Yep.
Yeah.
D. Definitely.
Bad season.
Kansas City Royals.
Weird.
What a weird season team. They made the playoffs the previous year, but we also were kind of like, how? And then they were like, let's run it back. And then you're like, well, how did you even come close again to making the postseason possibly when you have 3 major league hitters in your lineup? And the pitching that was so good the previous year wasn't as good because Cole Reagans got hurt. Seth Lugo wasn't as sharp. It was kind of crazy that they almost made the playoffs again. The AL Central is a complete joke, and I'll never show that division any respect. But I don't know if you can be mad or excited as a Royals fan. Like this was a season that happened.
It was it kind of weirdly wound up being a fine season. You're not like excited about it. You're not hanging your hat on it, but you still see the elements of a playoff team here. And you still think that you can kind of work around the edges and be a playoff team again. I thought they had a great trade deadline. In terms of the sellers, I think they did a really good job. I think that Freddie Fermin trade with the Padres, getting themselves to
was awesome.
SP6, SP7, and Ryan Berger and Stephen Kolek, like that's something that next year. I mean, actually, I think didn't Berger get hurt?
Burgett made 8 starts.
Wait, no, did Berger blow out his arm?
Don't remember which one did it. Honestly, they're very similar to me, and they were both being streamed very hard in fantasy because they had starting reliever eligibility for both.
Okay, no, I don't think he technically did. Berger is interesting though. He's got a weird thing where he has a high slot, like a low slot, high ride fastball, and he gets tons of horizontal action on a sweeper. It's a very rare archetype in baseball. He actually has. I think there's like some weird helium on Ryan Berger, but there's a long way to go for that. It's just,
and Kolek was just like ground ball, right?
Yeah, Kolek was a reliever that became a starter from the Mariners to the Padres. Changeup, sinker, lots of nonsense, but yeah, finds a way through 5 innings.
Bobby Witt Jr. is one of the best players in baseball. Michael Garcia took a huge step forward, finally hit some potential. Vinny Pasquantino hit like we thought he eventually could again. Like those were bright spots, but that's it.
Yeah, the original you guys not thinking I don't know what underrated means because I keep saying Bobby Witt Jr. is underrated, but it's because Bobby Witt Jr. is like the 3rd best player in baseball, and no one ever talks about him in that same. People talk about in that same category, but I don't even think we've understood that Bobby Witt Jr. just put up 2 years in a row.
I don't know. You might not know underrated, James.
Bobby Witt Jr. just put up 17.5 WAR over 2 seasons, and he didn't even sniff an MVP. He didn't get close to one.
That's fair. I mean, that was more so because of Aaron Judge. But.
Totally more so because of Aaron Judge. But I'm saying Bobby Witt Jr. in a different era would be like on the fucking Wheaties box.
He still might be in this era.
Yeah.
But, all right, ready to rank them?
Yeah.
3, 2, 1, C.
C.
Yeah. We gotta disagree a little bit more.
I mean, I guess. It's not that much to disagree on.
Yeah, that's fair. Angels. Oof.
Yikes.
Organizationally, absolute mess. I mean, I'm not going to hold Artie Moreno and what's going on in court with them too heavily against them in these rankings, but man, what a shit organization they are. They constantly make every wrong decision possible. I don't know how you can have this many wrong decisions being made at the same time.
There's a difference between making wrong decisions and seemingly putting players in your organization in harm's way.
And they do both.
Yeah, it seems like they do both flying colors. But again, that's not part of this. Maybe that'll be some kind of wind-up video later, a few months when we know more about that and we can make something about that. But oddly, this team had guys that did well.
I was going to say, I'm going to give you a positive spin. Joe Adell looks like a Major League Baseball player and a pretty decent one.
Yeah.
Mike Trout played 130 games.
Can't believe that.
That's a positive. Zach Neto's very good. He's a good player. Like, that's good. You had some Major League players really solidify themselves as guys that are going to be on this roster and can be on this roster you don't feel bad about. Even on the pitching side, I think this is one of your guys, Jose Soriano. Like, he is not by any means a frontline starter like he's treated in LA or in Anaheim. But this is a Major League starting pitcher who's going to give you 170 innings probably for the rest of his career.
Jose Soriano is the exact guy where if he was on a team that had like computers and like
Or any
advanced
sort
player
of
development,
brain. Yeah.
he could be an animal because I don't. He's such a weird pitcher in the fact that he has a demon sinker that's 100 miles an hour, 98 miles an hour, and it gets like as a pitcher he gets near 60% ground ball rate, but he does not throw any pitches in the strike zone.
No.
Someone should be in his ear being like, "Hey man, throw the sinker in the zone." Like I'm not saying it's that easy. I don't want to really tear this thing down, but it's like
But it kind of is.
it's very rare to have a pitcher that has that high of a ground ball rate and that good of contact metrics against them and still struggle with throwing pitches in the strike zone. It's a very, very strange archetype. I think that one that other coaches around the league would be like, could probably do something about this in like a week.
Yeah, and I mean they won more games than I thought they would. Like I thought they would be one of the worst teams in Major League Baseball. They still are, but they won 72 games somehow. That's not like even close to what the White Sox won.
Also, again, this is something where you can clearly see that the edges is why this team is losing. Like they have 5 guys where you're like, if you knew how to fill this thing out, like with again, prospects, I'm using the term loosely because the Angels, when you get drafted, you go straight to the major leagues. But like,
Yeah.
if Nolan Schanuel could be your 7 hitter with a 350 on base percentage, it's like you could actually be doing something right there.
Yeah, like giving Luis Rengifo 550 plate appearances probably should never happen again. The fact that we're seeing 150 plate appearances from like Bryce Teodio and Kyron Paris as much as we did, it was like Kevin Newman played way too much on this team. They were playing Chris Taylor. They went Lamont Wade in the outfield. It's like, who's making these decisions that thinks that this is going to help you in baseball games?
Also, very funny that they took in like Mickey Moniak and then they let him go away. Now he's actually looks like a decent player. Like bailing out the Braves and paying Jorge Soler's contract
Crazy.
only for him to kind of low-key quit on the season, it seemed like, with a really nondescript back injury and not getting any updates about that for the last 3 months.
Also trading for him knowing that Mike Trout's going to DH the entire year. It's like, well, where's Jorge Soler going to play? Why did you take that contract? It doesn't make any sense.
The very strange situation around Reed Detmers, like him being really good, but also then being bad, but then winds up being really good by the end of the year. Like Ryan Zefferjon looked like a rising star reliever, then completely falling apart, just imploding in the middle of the season. Like and just watching the way that it's very clear that they like to accumulate former top picks and top prospects and hope like something clicks, like the classic thing, like I'm sure these guys used to say like 25 years ago about players, like, oh, let's get Carson Fulmer in here. I see this live arm there, like, hey, Tuki Tucson, like something's going to happen there. Like seeing the guys that got plate appearances for this team, like Carter Keyboom, like
Carter Keyboom getting plate appearances in 2025 is criminal.
Oswald Peraza, like Chris Taylor, like it's funny to watch what goes on process wise for this team. Again, while having exciting players on top.
Yeah, I think it's time to rank them, and maybe we'll explain because I think we're gonna surprise people though, despite what we said.
I might not, but you go.
All right, 3, 2, 1, C.
D.
Ooh,
Yeah.
I was gonna say C because I think there were good things that happened on the field for this team, but I think the organization, the people who are in charge of it, and the actual quality of this roster is horrendous. I think it's an F, but despite that, like there were still some bright spots. I'm okay. I'm happy to put him in D.
I just think that when you see an organization with this many unforced errors, like I don't know. I can't
okay,
give
yeah,
them
cool.
credit.
I'm in. Cool with that. That's more heard. That's more of a D towards Perry Minasian and those guys rather than like Zach Neto and those guys playing well.
So there's stuff to actually to be excited about for as an.
Well, hey, we might just do the Dodgers really quickly. Like I don't feel like glazing them. 3, 2, 1, S. They won the World Series and they're ridiculously good from top to bottom at everything that they do.
We did a lot of videos talking about them over the last month. If you guys want to hear any of the recaps or any of the World Series games, like definitely go back and listen. Or leave the Game 7 recap that I did at 5 a.m. in London because it was unbelievable.
I'm gonna hand this one off to you, James.
My Miami Marlins?
Yeah, your Miami Marlins. Get going on them.
I think that as a Marlins fan, this is the first time you could be excited about your team's process, maybe ever.
And I think this will be like if you haven't understood how we're ranking teams right now, I think this Marlins ranking is going to be the one that makes you understand how we're doing these rankings. Because by all intents and purposes, phenomenal year by the Miami Marlins. Phenomenal considering what they looked like coming into the season, what you expected. They outperformed every single expectation this year.
There was steam in the idea that the Marlins this season would have challenged the White Sox win-loss record from the year before.
I totally thought that.
Being one of the worst teams in the history of baseball. And then what you wind up getting from this Marlins team was player development win after player development win, hanging around tons of games, being one of the hottest teams in baseball through the end of the summer and the early September. Like it was, right to the end of the season, they ended the Mets season. Like this team was a resounding success from what was expected from them. And I know the record still doesn't reflect that, but the Marlins weren't eliminated from the playoffs until 7 days before the season was over.
They got
5
swept by
days.
the Phillies. That was pretty much
Yeah.
what caused it.
And for you to have thought that when you looked at the players in this roster heading into the season is nothing short of phenomenal, especially considering the guy that was the straw that stirred the drink together and Kyle Stowers didn't play for the last 6 weeks of the season.
Nope.
Their best hitter by far didn't even play through the end, and they still sustained positive baseball being played day in and day out.
Yeah, Peter Bendix came in and like kind of turned their player development into what the Rays had been in the past and still are somewhat to this day, where it's major league-ish players and getting the most out of them. The major league development that they made was phenomenal. Again, Kyle Stowers was one of the most impactful hitters in baseball while he was playing this season, and he was someone who the Orioles would have killed for on this roster this year.
My God, literally. And like even a guy who was already on the roster, because the Marlins did so well in picking up kind of other teams' trash and turning it to relative treasure.
Which is the Rays' move.
But taking Edward Cabrera, who had been this unbelievably talented but really horrible pitcher, ball of clay for his entire career, and over the first few months of the season, just kind of snapping your fingers and turning him into someone that looks like a legitimate frontline starter. Like Edward Cabrera can be a 2 on a playoff team. And I think you'd be like kind of actually comfortable with that. Like I'd love to see Edward Cabrera start the playoff game. Like him, Sandy, and Yuri, like that's one of the best top 3s in baseball, truthfully speaking.
It's one of the highest ceilings in baseball.
Yeah, true. I'll give you that. Because like even Sandy coming back this year, everyone's looking at the 5.3 ERA. I'm looking at the 3.3 second half ERA with more strikeouts, fewer walks. Like I think Sandy's pretty much back. Yuri getting near 100 innings and being pretty good most of the time until everything fell apart at the end for those last few starts. Like there's a lot to be excited about, weirdly, for the Marlins fans. I never would have thought I'd be saying that on November 2025.
I didn't think so either. I thought they were going to be historically bad. So
like Jacob Marcy, like, geez, like these guys, like there's things you look at and be excited about for this team.
Yeah, I mean, fuck it. Like Heriberto Hernandez came up here, like Major League Baseball player. Like holy shit.
Talk about a former Rays prospect right there. Like even Augustine Ramirez, like it wound up looking pretty ugly by the end of the year. But you could squint, and I know you can't, but like other people could squint and be like, so it could be a real power hitter in here.
All right, James, count us down.
Yep. 3, 2, 1.
S.
A.
Ooh, I put him in the S. That's probably an overcorrecting. I'm cool with putting him in A.
I mean, if you want to put him in S, I'll put him in S. This is my Marlins.
The reason I put them in S is just because, again, like this is a little bit on me. I thought they were going to be like maybe the worst offense we've ever seen coming into the season. Like
you said that.
I've said it, and I will own that take. And I thought they were going to be so awful. And they're a team where I don't know how good they're going to be next year. I want to see another year of it before I believe that the Marlins team are close to 500 going into the season, but they played great baseball at the end of the year. I was impressed.
And I don't want to conflate these two teams and these two things, but like I watch tons of baseball. For my job, I got to watch 4 games at night, and I got assigned the Marlins a lot because East Coast team. There were the same feelings I got watching this team down the stretch last year. I got from the Blue Jays last year.
And more so, like where the difference between those is like the Blue Jays have those star guys to move them to that next level, but like the Ernie Clement-ish type players, or like I think you liked Spencer Horwitz in the past, who wasn't on this Blue Jays team, but like you could see a process being executed.
You could also see a culture being developed and like a togetherness building with a core. I mean, this isn't really a core yet. They still need more players, but like there's some cool happening in this Marlins team. I appreciate watching it.
Yeah, I think it was a great season by them. All right, Milwaukee Brewers. This is a bizarre one to talk about because if we just talked about regular season, it is obviously clearly going to be S, won the most games in baseball. Yeah. But then to not really even have a chance to move past the Dodgers for even a second, it does like leave a weird. I say this a lot. I'm realizing it leaves a weird taste in your mouth. Or like, man, like, was this just a better version of the same Brewers that we know never had a chance? Actually,
it kind of sometimes makes you feel that way, where they easily could have won Game 1 of that series. And if you win Game 1 of a series, they could have.
They could have. Yeah,
they had guys on base. They had men in scoring position. Like they just couldn't really get over the hump. And Freddie Freeman, but it's a curve, right? Don't we have to grade them on the curve with expectations?
Yeah, it is.
And in terms of expectations, even if I told you on March 25th, the Brewers are going to get to the NLCS, they'll get swept by the Dodgers. If they got to the NLCS, you'd have been like, damn.
I'd be like, really?
Really good season for them.
Yes.
And similarly, like, massive player development wins for this Brewers team. Like, I don't know what the future is going to hold for Bryce Terang. I don't think he's going to be able to hold being a 20-homer bat, but, like, even if he's a 12-homer bat, that's a huge win.
With
like,
his defense, yeah.
Great season. Caleb Durbin showed up. Major League Baseball player. Isaac Collins. Holy fucking shit, dude. Like, it's like the way they were able to fill out the middle class of their roster with internal guys or guys that they got for very cheap or free. Like, that's the thing the Brewers have to do to be the Brewers, and they did it.
And then on the pitching side, which they always hit a home run, but now they have a legit rotation, one of the deepest in Major League Baseball. And then on the bullpen side, they don't miss. Every single one of the arms in the bullpen is always fucking dynamite.
Yes, like that series again, to go back to it again with the Dodgers never scored more than 5 runs in the game. It's just the Brewers couldn't score themselves, but their pitching will keep them in every game, every series, forever. It really will at this point. Even if they trade Freddie Peralta, which now the rumors and that have cooled, like thankfully for Brewers fans, those have cooled. Like a Freddie Mizorowski 1-2 is ready to rip. And then Priester, I think, can still be a 3. I think this year might wind up being the best year of Quinn Priester's career, but I still think he's a 3. Logan Henderson's an animal. Like, we didn't even get to see much of him this year. Like, let's see what Robert Gasser has. Like, there's a lot to be.
Also, I'm so proud of you calling him Robert Gasser. That's a big one for you. You've been
I got
calling
that
him
one
Gasser for years.
I finally got that one right. That was the first time ever. But like this, it's an exciting time to be a Brewers fan, unless you trade Freddie Peralta. And I will not be excited for you anymore.
Yes, yeah, we're not talking about 2026. We're talking about 2025.
Great thing, yeah.
It was a phenomenal year for them. All right, 3, 2, 1, A.
S.
Ooh.
Interesting.
You want to know why I don't put them in S? Because I have 2 teams that go in S right now, and it's the boring cop out of the 2 teams that made the World Series.
Yeah,
but I think you could make an argument for the Brewers in S.
If we're grading on the curve of what would the expectations were like
then
preseason as you move through, like they hit their exact ceiling. Like if they would have won 2 games against the Dodgers, that made you an S. Like
I'll put them up there, and then I feel even better then about the Marlins in A.
Yeah, but I think that's perfect. I think we're grading on what you guys thought. That's it.
Minnesota Twins.
Ugh.
Yeah, ugh is the perfect way to describe it. They stunk. Their manager should never have been there even to start 2 seasons ago, which is crazy. Every single player was not very good besides like Joe Ryan. It was a bad year. Byron Buxton was also great. Shout out Byron Buxton. They at least sold knowing that they had no chance, but also like, man, how did this team have no chance in that division? Again, look at, like, we put the Guardians in A because that roster is horrible and they made the playoffs. We put the Royals in C because that roster is horrible and they were almost making the playoffs. How did the Twins, with a much better roster than almost any team in the AL Central, not come even close to making the playoffs?
And then the real just absolute, like, you got stabbed in the heart by the season, and then the knife getting twisted, taken out, like stab 10 other times, like the Walter White prison murders, was the fact that you're ready to sell. You thought you were out. You guys thought you were going to get away from the pole ads. You were going to get into a new era, have owners that were actually committed to winning baseball games rather than seeking profit margin. And they said, never mind. As the season went on, to get a never mind from hated owners selling, that's worse than anything that actually happened on the field. And I don't want to like hold that against Twins players, Twins front office, Twins fans. But it just has to suck. And then another thing that definitely sucks for the Twins, this is some real nitty-gritty wind-up shit. You've watched so many of your assistant coaches go around the league and become really successful elsewhere. Like, you've had a brain drain that you haven't been able to fill in the cracks for really since.
Can't tap in.
It's just that sucks because you had like a top-of-the-league coaching staff, and now they're all spread around the league into really smart teams making a lot more money with more responsibility.
You wanted to keep Rocco Baldelli around, who almost never succeeded as your manager.
I mean, you had 3 pitching coaches in-house that are successful elsewhere. It was, what's the guy's name? Justin Mako, then Hefner, and Justin Willard. It's like, I forgot, Adam Mako? What was that guy's name? I don't remember the third one's name.
Adam Mako is a player.
He was a player, but there was a third guy there. I think his name ended in no. I can't remember right now. It's anti-Italian discrimination. But it's just you've watched this thing fall apart, and you're like, what are we going to do? And then you trade Carlos Correa for nothing. It's like after you gave him the contract. It's like, what the fuck, guys?
Quick and easy grade here, James.
Yeah.
3, 2, 1.
F.
Yeah, that's an F. That's a no-brainer.
Hoping next year some of these pitchers get better, but you're probably trading one anyway, so we'll see.
This one feels easy to me too, but we could talk about it.
Sure, I guess.
We talk about the Mets ad nauseum over on the Mets Up podcast. If you're a Mets fan, I'll leave a link in the description. You can go subscribe over there if you want to hear me and James talk very, very densely about the Mets. We won't do that to you guys over here because this is a baseball channel. Plain and simple, it was a bad season.
It was a fucking horrific season for the Mets, and it was a season that is hard to point fingers at. You just didn't play well enough to win.
Like, again, imagine a world where like Juan Soto is going to finish top 3 in the MVP. Or just this. You made the NLCS last year, you added Juan Soto.
That's it.
You'd be like, holy shit, did we almost make the World Series? Like, how about this? You didn't make the playoffs.
No, like Francisco Lindor had another 6-win season. Pete Alonso almost hit 40 home runs. That one of the best offensive seasons of his career. Like Brett Baty took a huge step forward. Francisco Alvarez by the end of the season looked like one of the best offensive catchers in baseball.
You had Juan Soto.
You had Juan Soto, and you still had one of the most miserable fucking seasons I can ever remember from any of my favorite teams, which is saying something considering one of my favorite teams is the Mets.
Yeah, no, they're my number one, and it felt like a chore to watch this team play baseball every single day. It was unenjoyable, not fun, bad season.
They were fucking ass. Kodai Senga was terrible by the end of the season. I know everyone's gonna be like 3.02 ERA, like he had a great season.
Trust us.
Sean Manaea was horrible, 5.5 ERA, even though he had a 30% strikeout rate. Like, and we're saying all this too, and like we watched Nolan McClain come up and be like, "Holy fucking
awesome.
shit!" Like this might be something that looks like an ace in the future. We had a 30% strikeout rate and a 60% ground ball rate. No one in the league has that.
No.
Like if you can do that for a season, it's almost impossible to be bad. No one has a chance to do anything against you. It's like and they still were this disappointing and miserable.
3, 2, 1.
F.
Yeah, that's
big
a
fat
hard
fucking F.
Yeah, Mets bias. How about that one, boys? All right, New York Yankees. This is a fun one. We know you guys are watching. Disappointing season, right? You made it to the World Series and you added in the offseason. You took a step back.
I think the biggest disappointment for the Yankees was that you didn't have Garrett Cole. Like that really kind of killed them. Like
it did and it didn't.
It did. It still did.
It didn't.
It did. The Yankees, they kind of had to play catch up with a lot of the back of the rotation all year. And maybe that did leave the room for a guy like Cam Schlittler to get his opportunity and become what I think is a rising star.
Yes.
Ben Rice, another guy, looks like a fucking stud. Like Ben Rice looks like he could be one of the few best offensive first basemen in the league. Jazz had a great year despite the Yankee fans hating him. Trent Grisham and Cody Bellinger were holy fuck. Those guys
awesome.
Were good. Like this was such a good season by the Yankees. It's just you just got pistol whipped by the team that beat you for the division. Like that is a really weird way for it to end.
Yeah, the Blue Jays own that ass. The Blue Jays are deep in there. The Yankees have no idea what to do with the Blue Jays because the Blue Jays own them that badly. Otherwise, the rest of the season they were good. Aaron Judge had a historic season, the highest batting average ever for hitting 30 home runs or 50 home runs in a season. Like it's honestly crazy they didn't make the World Series. It's fucking nuts.
Aaron Judge has the highest batting average in baseball over the last 3 years. It's 312.
That's nuts.
Aaron Judge almost has a 300 career batting average now. It's 294.
He's so fucking good.
Could you think about that for a second? How Aaron Judge started his career as like a 3 true outcomes, all or nothing guy, and now he's the best batting average in fucking baseball. I don't think we talk about that enough.
No, I think people do.
Batting average, I think not. I think as Aaron Judge is a player, also I think I confuse the Yankee fans sometimes because I'm just pretty objective about how I talk about every team besides the Mets on my Twitter account, especially. And sometimes I give the Yankees a lot of credit, and sometimes I really say horrible things about them. But like I defended Aaron Judge, Cal Raleigh MVP thing. A bunch of Yankee fans were like, "Yeah, hell yeah!" But then also, we said the Yankees were the second best roster in baseball in their last video, and the Yankee fans clipped it for Twitter and was like, "Look at these fucking losers." It's like, all right, so whatever. I guess we can't win with you guys, but good season for the Yankees. It was a good season.
I don't know if I'll say it was a good season.
I think it was a good season. You lost a tiebreaker for your own division, and you had a bunch of guys in the bottom of your roster look like top of roster guys.
Is that a good season for a team that made it to the World Series last year and had a chance to actually win if they knew how to play defense?
They had no chance to win. They had no chance.
But just let me wind them up.
What do you think Devin Williams' strikeout rate was this year?
28%.
35%.
That's way higher than I thought.
That's what I'm saying. Like it's kind of insane.
They had wins
was that bad.
Their players played well. It's just they did not even really come close to their objective.
Well, that's the opposite about when we talk about teams like the Brewers and the Red Sox and the Reds and the Blue Jays, where it's like their whole is greater than the sum of their parts.
Yes.
The Yankees' whole is much worse than the sum of their parts.
Yeah, and that goes back to their loser mentality and lame duck coach.
There you go. Clip it again. Count us down.
3, 2, 1, D.
C.
We're putting him in D.
You're going to put him in D? All right.
Put him in D.
I was going to give him the C. That's a pretty good season.
They didn't make it to the ALCS.
I guess that's true.
That's
if you grade them on the Yankee curve, I guess that's it. They had the best roster in the AL. They didn't make it to the Final Four.
How about those Athletics?
Oh, my A's.
Your A's. Genuinely, one of the more fun teams to watch this past year, just because you knew when they were home the games were going to be chaos, and then you got to see Mr. Kurtz, who's incredible. Jacob Wilson put the ball in play every fucking time and hit 300. Tyler Soderstrom had a great year. When they had Mason Miller, he'd come in and throw 105.
I feel bad for Tyler Soderstrom because he's not getting the respect for having a fucking amazing season. Tyler
Really good year.
Soderstrom moved to the outfield in May when Nick Kurtz came up, and he got nominated for a Gold Glove. He
Yeah.
was never an outfielder before. People were like, "Oh, I don't know what
He
he's
was
going
a
to be able to do
catcher.
out there." There was a feeling towards the middle of the season that playing in the outfield was actually hurting his production at the plate because he was spending so much time and energy working on it and focusing on it.
Brent Rooker's awesome. Like
Awesome.
they have a fun team. They weren't very good, but I think they're getting better. They got to figure out the pitching. That's their biggest problem right now.
It's hard to figure out the pitching when you have a ballpark that supplies offense almost as much as Coors Field. Like, it's just very hard to do something like that. And I think there's a video we're going to do when next season's beginning. This is a big parlance in NBA terms. League pass teams. We're going to do our MLB app. I don't even know what's it called.
MLB TV.
And we're gonna do our MLB TV watch. Our favorite MLB TV team. I was gonna say MLB Extra Innings, like the fucking one from 15
That
years
used to
ago.
be, yeah.
Yeah,
Direct TV.
There was nothing better than 10:45 at night, sitting in front of the TV and watching the Athletics play a game of baseball at home because it was insane every single time.
And again, this is another team too that like
you didn't mention Langoliers either.
Yeah, I forgot to mention Shea Langoliers. He was awesome. He's become like one of the better catchers in baseball casually.
No, this team has an offensive core that's fucking legit as shit. And that's something that is cool to go into the offseason with.
All right. 3, 2, 1. C.
B.
Ooh, okay. I was thinking about B, so I'm cool with putting him in B.
Yeah, we're grading them on their curve. This is a team that's 2 years away from being the worst team in baseball history. And now we just rattled off 5 hitters that were like, that's a legit ass core.
Yeah, no, it was a very positive season for them moving forward.
For sure. And pitching, we'll see.
Philadelphia Phillies.
Wow.
Yeah, this is a real exercise in what do we talk about with them? Because talk about disappointing, but still played well. But they've got like a real roadblock mentally of winning any sort of game in the playoffs. It seems like
they also get like shit goes wrong for them kind of more often than for other teams with this much talent. Like the way they kind of fucked up that Dodgers series, I can't really get it out of my brains. The way that Rob Thompson bunted and then Ryan Kerkering, not to rehash, but it's just like
not to rehash it. Fuck him.
You had not fuck him.
Not him. The Phillies.
You had so many chances to win that series, and the worst part is like if Zach Wheeler doesn't have a fucking blood clot, you might have won it anyway. It's like
It did take the Dodgers playing horrendously too at the plate.
Totally, but the Phillies also played horrendously, and the Dodgers horrendously at the plate. That happened the whole postseason. The Dodgers never hit this postseason besides against the Reds,
and
so
that's
like,
why they're in the S because they won the World Series.
Yeah, like the Phillies team didn't really hit either. Like you have to. I mean, again, I don't want to. You can't blame Bryce Harper and Kyle Schwarber because they've had really good postseasons in the past, but they didn't show up to the series. And like if they show up, you probably win. If Zach Wheeler doesn't have a blood clot, you probably win. Like this was a real sliding doors season for the Phillies, and one that I don't know how I'd feel if I was one of their fans right now.
That window's closing. Everybody knows it. Like it's getting tighter and tighter. These guys are getting older. Bryce Harper looks like he's got an immuno disease. Like it's
the raw milk one.
Yeah, it's crazy what's going on with this roster. Dave Dombrowski's comments about Bryce Harper were so weird, and again, kind of got brushed over like pretty quickly. But like. This was a major failure of a season for the Phillies. That's why I won't say
huge one.
Like disappointment's not the right word because the season was a failure. This team is built to win the World Series. They didn't come even close.
Especially the cakewalk that they had with the Braves falling apart and the Mets collapsing. Like you really had an avenue there to make sure all of your ducks were in a row and aligned, ready for that series. And a lot of it does come back to Zach Wheeler shit though. Like if Zach Wheeler doesn't have a blood clot, they might have lost the World Series.
Yeah.
Truthfully,
where are we gonna rank them, James?
I got mine. I think we'll probably be aligned here.
All right, 3, 2, 1.
D.
Yep.
Yeah,
D for the Phillies.
Disappointing. You don't know what's gonna happen with Aaron Nola in the future. You're probably losing Ranger Suarez and Kyle Schwarber. It's like they'll probably get one.
Probably get Schwarber back. I think.
I think I can get Ranger back more so than Schwarber. But it's gonna be weird. It's gonna be weird.
Pittsburgh Pirates. Paul Skeens. 1A or 1B in terms of best pitchers in baseball, and that's. I mean, they actually do have like a kind of fun rotation. That's about it, though.
No, fuck this team, fuck this organization. This is everything that's wrong with baseball is the Pittsburgh Pirates. Like this team has such an easy avenue to just reaching the playoffs, to being 500.
Incredibly easy.
You need so little effort if you're Bob Nothing to make the fucking playoffs, and you still can't even get close to it. What a loser owner he is.
I think they were also low-key one of the best teams in the second half as well, right?
Dude, my boy Spencer Horwitz stirred the fucking drink together.
There it is.
That's
He was
my
there.
guy.
He's the only hitter this year, James, that had it doesn't matter what the minimum amount of at-bats are. You could have gone 1 for 1 and been a part of this.
Yeah.
He is the only hitter to be above league average in terms of OPS plus. That right there.
It's egregious.
You should be forced to sell a team if you can't get 2 hitters that are above league average, including guys who got 1 plate appearance.
And think about this. Everyone says shit about Ben Cherington, deservedly so. He traded the guy that was ready to gamble on baseball for a guy that was the best hitter on his team. That's a fucking win in my book.
Holy shit. Like, what a disaster franchise this is.
Also, such a disaster in the way that you delayed Bubba Chandler. Bubba Chandler should not have thrown 1 pitch in the minor leagues this year.
Nope.
Based on the way he ended the year before, dominating AA and AAA. And then you left him in AAA and dominating spring training. It seemed like there was going to be like a buddy situation with him and Paul Skeens at the top of his rotation. And then you're like, no, go to AAA. And then it clearly got in his head, that's no one's fault besides Bubba Chandler's, but like, he didn't really seemingly respond to that mental hardship well. He struggled a lot. He pitched with a lot of emotion in AAA. You don't want to see a lot of guys pitching with emotion in AAA.
No.
And the fact that he would strike a guy out in July and like be screaming on the mound, like it clearly meant a lot to him. And then he finally got a shot and had, again, similar to you mentioned with Chase Burns, had a blow up that ruined his ERA, but look the fucking part of a dog.
Yes.
Like Bubba Chandler is going to show up next year and be a legit starter in Major League Baseball. I'm sure of it.
No, the development they made pitching wise last year was legitimate. Like
Braxton Ashcraft is awesome too.
Braxton Ashcraft was awesome. Look at their bullpen. They were pulling guys out of nowhere that gave you like capable seasons. Isaac Matson, 2.45 ERA, 50 innings.
Justin Lawrence.
Chase Shugart getting a 3.4 ERA in 45 innings. Justin Lawrence, finally, get him out of Coors. He was great.
Guys.
Dari Moreta gave us 17 big innings as the Mets were watching them play the Reds every single day down the stretch. Like
Mike Burrows became a back-end Major League Baseball starter. Like Bailey Falter pitched a hell of a year when he was on their team.
Johan Oviedo looked pretty good.
Like they had like 2 months of Andrew Heaney looking like an actual big leaguer, which is, it's big time for Andrew Heaney. Like there was Hunter Barco got a cup of coffee at the end of the year. Like Jared Triolo, I know he didn't hit, but he looked like the part of a major league bottom of the order guy based on how good he is at defense. Like there's too many pieces in this Pirates team that don't cost any money for them to be as fucking shit as they are.
Yes. Don Kelly was basically a 500 manager when he took over. That's pretty good considering how horrible this team is.
That's the Spencer Horwitz effect.
That is the Spencer Horwitz effect. I'm looking at their record. I'm trying to see because they went on a run. I know there was a stat too I saw where
Did they have like a 10-game win streak towards the end or something?
They did. And in the second half against teams above 500 at home, they were like 16-2. And I was like, what? Like,
Can I give you some crazy stats about Paul Skeens' win-loss record?
Yes.
Because I think a lot of people talked about, me in the fantasy baseball world, that he was 10-10 despite being, Paul Skeens this year.
Yeah, he did the Jacob DeGrom.
190 innings with a 1.97 ERA. Paul Skeens in 2 seasons has an ERA under 2, which is kind of insane. So listen to Paul Skeens. He made 26 starts this season where he allowed 2 runs or fewer. Only earned a win in 10 of those. He never won a game where he allowed more than 2 runs.
That's crazy.
And he had 16 games where he held his opponents to 2 or fewer and did not leave with a win.
That's insane.
Can you imagine that for a second?
No.
He didn't get 1 win when he allowed more than 2 runs. And 16 times he allowed 2, 1, or 0 runs and he didn't get a win.
That's so crazy.
What the fuck is that? How could that fucking possible?
Jacob DeGrom shit. That's what it is.
It really is. It'd be a combination of DeGrom and Doc Gooden.
I'm going to be honest. I have no idea where I want to rank this team.
I'm going to give them a pretty bad ranking because they were pretty bad.
All right. 3, 2, 1, D.
F.
Oh, F. All right.
I mean, like, it's not seeing O'Neal Cruz not take a step forward. Seeing the fact that they actually got closer to the postseason 2 years ago than this past year, it's like,
okay. F.
Yeah.
I just needed to hear that stat. That was it. They played good baseball in the second half. That's why I was like, yeah.
Yeah, that's something. But again, we put the Orioles down here.
True. San Diego Padres. Orioles also expectations. San Diego Padres.
Yeah. What the fuck do we say about the San Diego Padres?
And and maybe this is me jumping the gun a little bit, but it makes me feel like I know what I'm going to say about them.
This is a situation where it feels like Phillies West.
Yes, a little bit.
They have the same season every single fucking year, and they try the same
Groundhog's Day.
shit every single year, and the same thing doesn't work. Like the big newsflash for the Padres, it's not the bullpen.
No.
Stop.
You have
trading-
enough.
It's not the bullpen's fault anymore. Like this year, they did add the bats. Like Loriano was great for them, then he got hurt. O'Hearn was a little bit disappointing. They tried that, but it's like the same shit every year with this team. I'm sure these fans, you guys are watching us right now. You're like, we just need to see something else change, and like I don't know what it's going to. I don't know if the change is going to be for the better.
Yeah, I mean, maybe getting rid of Mike Schilt, because apparently Mike Schilt was a real menace as a manager. Who would have saw that coming? And Mike Schilt was not with the times.
Still going for the manager cop outs, like whatever. Like people say such great things about Ruben Niebla as a pitching coach. Like they have modern elements of that team, that organization.
Yes,
But
yeah. But that's why that made even less sense.
like you got a bad season from Jackson Merrill relative to what happened in the past. It's still a good season, but like people thought you were going to see like second year superstar league from
Yeah.
Jackson Merrill. Didn't happen. Like
Machado was
Tatis-
just good. Tatis was just good.
Yeah, I mean Tatis was still a 6-win player with a 130 WRC plus.
But the offense is more about the issue there. Like we know he's going to
130 370 on base percentage, 130 WRC plus, like 25 homers, 30 steals.
You want him to be better.
Sure. I mean, but I think that now knowing what we know about Fernando Tatis, I don't think 2021, 2019 Fernando Tatis ever walking
But
back through the door.
This kind of cemented that, though.
Yeah, but I still think the fact that again it was like not many strikeouts, we said 270 batting average in a 6-win season. Like he's a fucking phenomenal player.
The issue with this team is that they have signed one of the worst contracts in baseball history, in Xander Bogaerts, and him being like a league average hitter kind of doesn't really work for how this roster is.
So maybe that'd be a video coming up soon in the line. The worst contracts in baseball as free agency's going on.
They tried to get the Condalita love. That didn't really work.
They almost did for a
They had
second.
vibes though. The Padres team is fun.
Oh, very fun. But the way they went out sad in that postseason series was rough against a Cubs team that not a great pitching team by any means, but they
No.
walked into a ballpark that's tough to hit in and a little bit brisker weather than beautiful San Diego that time of year. Sorry, burp. Hour 15 in.
We're
But
keeping
it's
that in.
just- yeah, keep it in. You just can't keep doing the same thing, expecting different results. It kind of sucks.
You ready to rank them?
Yeah.
3, 2, 1. D.
C. All right.
Ooh, okay.
I guess we should put them next to the Phillies and Yankees if it's a similar kind of idea.
Yeah, like this team should have been challenging the Dodgers for the World Series.
Yes, at least should have been closer to challenging them for the World Series.
And
And
they
they
make it out of the wild card.
Did they build a team just to beat the Dodgers and they couldn't beat the Cubs? That actually kind of what happened here.
That's actually probably exactly what happened.
They're like, we have to beat
Although
the Dodgers.
they didn't beat the
couldn't even
Dodgers
face
last year though, but
them. Got really close though.
until they for some reason like kind of similar with the Blue Jays. Like, why'd you wake the Dodgers up? Like, why'd you
Yeah.
start shit with Dave Roberts?
Yeah, right. Jeez.
San Francisco Giants. This is a team that we know I'm a hater of. James is a little more friendly of them, so I'm gonna let you start us off here, James.
Another just really weird one. Like there's a team that really drastically changed their internal processes from year to year. Like changed seemed like everything about their decision making system that they had in their organization, and the results weren't that different by the end of it.
Yeah, like they were just kind of mid, like the entire season. Their
Just like it's
pitching
been for 5 years now.
Yeah, their pitching's kind of like everything about them's just kind of mid. Like Devers was actually great with them. Devers raked, as you can imagine, still a really good hitter. Matt Chapman still had a great season. I can't even believe they got production out of Dom Smith at one point. But like similarly, it's like I didn't expect the Giants to really do anything this year, and they didn't. So it's like I don't know who cares.
I think there was an expectation they could be like a fringy wild card team, which they were, but that's just because the wild card wound up sucking in National League. Like,
Yeah.
that was kind of how that kind of backed their way into what was like almost an acceptable season. But it's just where like the player development in this team, like there's no one coming here.
No.
Like Bryce Eldridge, we're excited about, but the way their rotation depth is right now, the way their hitting prospects look right now, it's like how are you guys going to pull yourselves out of this? Like, are you just going to spend a bunch of money? Like, you could spend a bunch of money, but like,
It was tough to see K-Wei Tang get 30 innings on this team when it was like I watched him pitch once. I'm like, no.
it was tough for like the Drew Gilbert thing to happen, where like he got traded from the Mets to the Giants, and he was like really fun and memeable, and then he wound up having a 190, 248, 350 slash line over
Yeah.
100 plate appearances. Like, I still think Drew Gilbert can be like an okay fourth outfielder in this league, but Helio Ramos taking a step back, Jung Hoo Lee just being a league average bat. Like, it's not, and not a good defender in center field. Like, where Patrick Bailey being the worst hitter in baseball. Like, you spent a lot of money on Willie Adames and Matt Chapman, and also they were just fine, not great. Adames pulled the nose up by the end of the season. First guy hit 30 homers since Barry Bonds there. But just like where, I don't know. Like the pitching, the rotation, I think it still has a chance to be really good with Robbie Ray and Logan Webb. But I don't know. Good season.
3, 2, 1.
D.
C. Okay, I'm cool with D as well. It was one of those where I put C because I was like, I personally expected nothing out of the Giants, and they gave me nothing this year.
Yeah, I mean, there's, I guess, I assume C because 500 team.
Literally 81 and 81. Like,
and also, if someone scrolls to the end and sees the Giants ahead of the Padres, they're just getting their melt. Their
That's
brain's
awesome.
Gonna melt.
Seattle Mariners. Whew, so close.
I think this was one of the biggest success stories in baseball.
Yes, definitely. They finally did it. We've been screaming for years, like,
do it.
Go get bats. You get bats. This team can make a run at the World Series. And they made the best run they possibly could have really at the World Series, where how close were they to beating the Blue Jays? And they just barely lost in the most painful fashion.
Yeah, what a great series. All the series they played were great. Like, this was one of the most fun teams to watch this year. Very happy to watch them get over the hump, like we just said. And there is a lot to be excited about with this team. Like, they have a great farm system. It's all the lower minors, not a lot of guys that are close, but like they still have a great rotation. Getting Naylor back is going to be huge for this lineup and really big for the culture and the vibes around this team. I think that's really important. And if I don't think Cal Raleigh can ever do this again.
No, of course not.
I also think Cal Raleigh's probably a 40 homer bat. I think he's going to be like a really good player. Again, a 60. If he does that again, this is Aaron Judge territory. But it's like he's awesome. Julio's awesome. Randy, some people were really out on Randy by the end of the year, but I still think he's quite a good player, even though the outfield defense has taken a real turn down. And getting Naylor back kind of ties the lineup back together. Like, this is a very, very, very good baseball team.
It's an incomplete roster right now, like in terms of like where the holes are, and they need to fix those. But for the 2025 season, it was a pretty awesome season. Like, it hurt for Mariners fans, but I think if you would have told a Mariners fan like the scenario that they were in, they would have been like, "Oh yeah, what a year! Let's go!" Like, they were crying when they were just winning like game 2 of a series in the playoffs, like
the ALDS.
Yeah, like this organization has been deprived of any sort of even aspirations of winning for years.
Yeah, of hope. And you've been like, you guys are gonna be winning in the 8th inning of the ALCS Game 7,
and then you're gonna get punched right in the stomach and throw up all your guts. But
they can handle that.
They can handle it. All right, James, ready?
Yeah.
3, 2, 1. S.
A.
Ooh, A.
All right, we can do S. I'm down for S.
Nah, fuck 'em, put him in A.
All right,
I'm cool with it. I'm cool with it. I love the Mariners. I know you do too.
Yeah, I root for the Mariners. Mariners is definitely the team from the American League I find the most pride in, like, cheering for.
They're Mets-like.
What are they different than the Brewers? Why are the Brewers S and the Mariners A?
Because they have the most wins in Major League Baseball, the Brewers.
Okay, I guess that's true. But yeah, and they reached the same round. Yeah, that's fair.
I think that's about right. All right, St. Louis Cardinals.
Yikes.
I mean, we knew they were going to stink. They did stink.
They didn't even stink as bad as I thought they were going to stink.
No, they actually might have been better than we gave them credit for, but they still do stink.
No, they suck in terms of, like, long view.
Yes.
Like, I think a team like the Marlins and, like, a team like the Mariners, we put A, like, A's, like, you know, teams that you've had a lot of things to hang your hat on this year, despite not having a great win-loss record. I don't see that with the Cardinals at all.
No. But at the same time, when talking about their season this year and what they are such a nothing burger where, like, I can't tell you it was a bad season, but, like, was it? Because they actually played better than we thought, but also they still weren't good. Like, this team is so uninteresting to think about, talk about, analyze everything. They're so boring.
I mean, you want to talk about the development of Jojo Romero and Kyle Leahy?
No, not interested. Don't care.
Those are great backhand bullpen guys by the end of the season. Riley O'Brien's got sick stuff too. Like, to talk about anything from the Cardinals, be like, yeah, actually got exciting bullpen arms. Be like, what?
Yeah, that's pretty much all we got.
I mean, Mason Wynn doesn't look like a majorly capable hitter,
but he's a great fielder.
One of the best in the league. But I mean, what do you do for that? Like, they're going to trade Brendan Donovan. They should trade Wilson Contreras. They should trade Alec Burleson. They're probably going to trade Lars Nootbaar. They'll trade Nolan Arenado to anybody who will take him. I don't know who that will be anymore.
Yeah.
Like, you developed a good DH in Ivan Herrera.
Yeah, cool.
Cool, dude.
Ready to rank them?
Yeah.
3, 2, 1. C.
F.
Oh, F. Okay.
Oh.
I put C because it was like they played baseball. They did things with no expectations, and they lived up to those zero expectations.
Yeah, maybe that's just me taking the long view too much into this.
I think that is.
Just look at the difference in D.
I think, yeah, fuck them. I hate the Cardinals. Put them in D. I'm fine with that. Tampa Bay Rays. What another weird season.
I mean, this was just like exactly what was expected, almost in a way.
Because they got off like, I think everybody thought that they were going to be the worst team in the American League East, and by the end of the season, they were second worst. They finished fourth in the division. They had that moment where they were hovering around the playoffs, but that was also because they got to play more home games than anybody to start the year, because you don't want to play games in the Florida sun out in the summer. But I don't know. This was like the first time in a while where I kind of felt the Rays are losing a little bit of their shine, but also they weren't in a Major League Baseball stadium.
Yeah, they got boned by the whole their stadium getting destroyed by a
So
hurricane
that's
thing.
probably the shine thing that is wearing off on me.
Because the funny thing, this was a reverse Rays season, where in the past people would be like, "This Rays pitching is amazing. They can't get the bats together." But that was also not taking into account the park factor of Tropicana Field, where it was really easy to pitch, really hard to hit. Then they go to the minor league baseball stadium, little league minor league baseball stadium, Steinbrenner Field. They're hitting the piss out of the ball, and they can't pitch anymore. So it's like, all right, maybe if we find the middle of these two things in a neutral ballpark, it's actually again could be like a few games over 500 team.
Junior Caminero is awesome. He's an incredible baseball player. That's definitely a bright spot with this team, how good he is. And
dude, Jonathan Aranda.
I was going to say Jonathan Aranda is still really, I mean, he broke out completely. That's the definition of a breakout, is Jonathan Aranda. And then while you mentioned that the pitching was a little bit rough, like Drew Rasmussen gave him 150 innings of a 2.70 ERA. Like Drew Rasmussen coming off of major surgeries and injuries.
His third, right?
Yeah, third, I think. I think he's had like the elbows and TOS and everything. Like, he's great. Ryan Pepio pulled it together by the end of the year. Like, there are bright spots on this team, but I think ultimately at the end of the day, it was another one of those. It felt like a lost season because of the circumstances.
Also, when you get the kind of injury luck that the Rays got, is really, you don't want to squander a season like that. Until the trade deadline, where they started dumping, they only had 6 different pitchers make a start.
That's crazy. That's like the Mets in 2019. You're like, how did you not make the playoffs?
And the 6th was Joe Boyle, who made 1 start in April.
That's crazy.
It was the 5 guys made every single start. And again, like Taj Bradley sucked. They dumped him out. Like Zach Littell was Zach Littell, which we love Zach Littell in the windup. I think the disappointing thing, though, is Shane Baz.
Yes.
Not taking like major steps back, but looking like he's lost some of that real top end guy steam he has as a prospect.
That's why I was like, the Rays shine kind of fell off a little bit for me this year.
Yeah, it's definitely possible.
But I think we're going to still be in the same spot for the ranking. 3, 2, 1, C.
D.
Oh, I want to put them in C. It was a weird year for them. I can't hold them against it.
All right, that's fine with me. I mean, maybe we should put one of those D's up. We'll do one tiny reshuffle, I guess, of the rankings when we finish.
Yeah.
Like we like to do.
Texas Rangers.
Ugh.
Yeah. Ugh is right. How do they still have the World Series hangover from 2 years ago? That's what it felt like this entire year.
They couldn't hit. Like,
waiting for them to wake up. Like, when was it going to happen? It never did.
This is another thing. Like we talked about Ronald Acuna Jr.'s like strikeout rate that 1 year, the whole Braves coming together and hitting in 2021. That was the Rangers 2023, because now we're on 2 years where they haven't hit anywhere close to that.
No. But also, I'll give them the World Series hangover for that year, and then now Marcus Simeon's 35.
For sure. And like usual, Corey Seager gets injured, and you miss a lot of time. When you miss a lot of time with the best player on your team, that hurts a lot, but that's also who Corey Seager is. That's the player they signed. This could be the classic thing of ownership getting really excited, signing big contracts, it paying off and winning the World Series, and then the organization possibly falling apart.
Irreparable damage.
Yeah, soon thereafter. Is it worth it?
Although I do like some of their prospects. I like the way they draft, but...
Yeah, definitely. But
Wyatt Langford's good, but we're still waiting for that next level. He's still very good, though. He's awesome.
I think it's also us having too high of expectations for Wyatt Langford. Because if I told you that he had a 2020 season with a 120 WRC plus and played good outfield defense,
great
as a
season,
23-year-old,
I wasn't disappointed. I was just saying I want to see him reach like those MVP aspirations.
Yeah, like waiting for like star potential from Wyatt Langford. But maybe it's just not. This might not be the guy he is. Maybe he is. Maybe he's not.
Imagine you told Rangers fans that Jacob deGrom would throw 170 innings with a .9 WHIP. You'd be like, yeah, so they won the AL West, right?
They had the lowest starters ERA in baseball.
Nathan Eovaldi was incredible.
Jack Leiter, huge step forward.
Patrick Corbin had a 4.4 ERA. How did they do that?
It's amazing. I think Jacob Lass is someone that I think is going to be kind of exciting heading into next season as like a back end guy. Like there's too many things went well for this team. They also had no bullpen, but like for them not to have hit at all, they're one of the worst offensive teams in baseball. Like when you look at the talent this team has, the major league players they had, for them to be the worst offensive team in baseball is inexcusable.
3, 2, 1, F. Yeah, that's an F.
Yep.
Toronto Blue Jays. Let's do our ranking quickly, and then we can talk about them briefly. Because again, we talked about them ad nauseum over the last 3 weeks. But 3, 2, 1, S. I mean, what an unbelievable season.
Tremendous.
Both of like you were optimistic about what the Blue Jays were doing the previous year for the next season, but we both coming into the season were like, this team was not very good. We didn't think they were going to be a World Series. We didn't think they were going to come close to the World Series.
Besides for betting on them.
Yes, besides for betting on them, which, I mean, shout out us. We didn't win, but boy, did we come close. We came as close as they physically could have gotten.
Yeah, literally. But, like, it's amazing that how much they changed the vibe of their season when they re-signed Vlad in April, May, whenever was. Saved their entire season because they weren't playing well at the time. George Springer being one of the best hitters in baseball. I tipped my cap to David Popkins for that one.
Didn't see it coming.
No. Bo Bichette getting his batting average back over 300, like super cool. Ernie Clement, Dalton Varsho, like Alejandro
Lucas.
Addison Barger being a dude. Like this.
Did you say Varsho?
Yeah, so Varsho.
Good. I had to make sure he's mentioned.
Have to. One of the best center fielders in baseball. But like this was, in terms of what they were able to do with their starting nine, is honestly, I couldn't even have ever imagined something like this would have happened.
And also their pitching.
Yeah.
Like there was nothing about this roster that screamed World Series. And they got there. And by the time like we got to the playoffs, if you were like, yeah, this team's got a chance to like go to the World Series. Like they were clicking on all cylinders. They made me a full believer in them by the end of the year.
Very curious heading into next year how they respond to the success. Not respond to the success, but like what do you think their win over under for wins is going to be next year?
Ooh, how many did they have this year?
In the regular season, 93, I want to say.
94.
94.
I bet you their win loss is going to be at this exact moment. I bet you 89.5.
At the exact moment, meaning we have to see about Bo Bichette and bullpen stuff.
Right, yeah, if they bring back, let's say they bring back Bo, like are we saying just running back the same team basically?
Yeah, pretend they bring back Bo and they sign one reliever that's not Edwin Diaz.
90.5. I'll give them one more.
Okay, 90.5. I think that's also fair. I think that there's a chance that they can go into next season, which I'd love to see Blue Jays fans respond to this, with the third highest win total in their own division.
It's possible.
Right?
It's possible. Like I wouldn't be shocked, but also at the same thing, like the changes that they made this year do feel sticky. So I'm interested to see how they can improve upon it rather than like Ernie Clement and those guys were great, but like can you get better? Because that's the biggest thing for this Blue Jays team is how do they get better?
And it's about bridging the gap between 160 WRC plus George Springer and 160 and 60 WRC plus Anthony Santander.
Yes.
If whenever George Springer gets worse, you need Santander to fill in that gap.
100. And he probably will.
I think he almost has to.
It would be shocking if everyone else became a better hitter and Anthony Santander gets there. He's like, I'm significantly worse than I ever was.
And like, it's also going to be funny to see how they fill out the corners of this roster. Like they've been linked to Kyle Tucker, and I think it's a great match. I think it's a perfect fit for them, honestly.
Be a good move.
They got a fun little bench right now. Like it's a fun little lineup. Like they are a move or two away from again being a team that should compete for the World Series.
Yes, and I think they will. I think that's what their offseason is going to look like. They spend money, the Blue Jays. Respect them.
100%. They try to win very hard.
Washington Nationals, last team, bad. This was a team that both me and you were high on coming into the season. Not relatively. In terms of like, relatively. Of like, ooh. Like we thought they would have an A season in a way where like, ooh, like fun stuff.
Similar to the Marlins, where like you see building blocks of the next competitive team.
And what I saw from the Nationals was, oh man, I have no faith in this organization or really almost any of the players moving forward besides James Wood and C.J. Abrams.
Dalen Lyle
looks good, but I don't know how legit that's going to be. But like I like him as a player.
Yeah, like your boy Luis Garcia Jr., a monster step back, like every single pitcher, including Mackenzie Gore. It's like, what's going on there? I still have a lot of belief in Mackenzie Gore for the future.
Just maybe not with that org.
Maybe not with that org. Maybe there's a new coach that helps unlock him a little bit. Like it was nice to see Kate Cavalli get back on the mound and pitch decent towards the end of the season. Not as many strikeouts I would have hoped, though. I thought that was something that Kate Cavalli would always kind of have in his bag. Like Jake Irvin, maybe the worst pitcher in baseball this year. Like Brad Lord, like Jesus Christ, dude. Like it's Mitchell Parker. Like those guys going out there every fifth day just getting absolutely blasted.
They had like 3 of the 5 worst pitchers in baseball. Like, how do you even do that? How do they keep getting that opportunity? You have nobody else?
No, this year, the Washington Nationals, let me see right here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Only 9 pitchers started the game for them.
How is that even possible with how bad
And one of them was Shinosuke Ogasawara, who only started twice. And then Andrew Alvarez, 5 times.
It's a criminal.
So 7 pitchers started 155 of their games.
That's so bad, and they won 66 games.
Wait, let's see what their cumulative starters ERA was.
It's got to start with like a 12. Nah,
you guys are hanging out with us an hour and a half in. This is exactly what you're staying for. So their starters ERA was 5.18. The only one worse was the
Oh,
Rockies.
God. And they play in
Jesus.
Coors half their games.
Yeah, literally. Oh, worse than the A's who play in Sacramento.
They, to put into context how bad this season was, the Nationals won 5 less games than they did in 2024, which is also 5 less games than they won in 2023,
Jeez,
which is crazy.
that's awful.
Juan Soto wasn't on the team. Like they,
How are
they,
they, get-
they had nobody in 2023.
how are they getting this much worse?
No,
Yeah, it's,
no clue. Michael Chavis got at bats for them in 2023.
it's almost as bad as Carter Keyboom.
Yes. Did Carter Keyboom get at bats for them in 2023? He did.
Yes, of
Yeah,
course.
there you go.
There you go.
Jake
And
Alou. Who the fuck is that?
I remember Jake Alou, little rangy outfielder.
Utility, yeah. All right, let's rank the Nationals. Last team here. 3, 2, 1. F.
F.
Yeah, they stunk. One of the worst teams in baseball, and they got worse. I don't know how it was possible, but I feel good.
Yeah, tough grades by us. Most of the teams being D or F, and then most of the teams who were just like kind of blah as C's. But yeah, excited to see if you guys scroll to the end. What'd you think of this tier list?
Yeah, if you scroll to the end and you're catching us right now, let us know what you're thinking in the comment section below. Remember to subscribe. 10,000 followers. We're giving away a signed MLB jersey to one of you guys. If you want to become a member, get access to the videos early, make sure you hit that join button. We do appreciate you. Shout out our boy Paul. That's bad on me. Shout out Paul. Big shout out to Paul. And that is it for this episode, guys. Thank you for watching. We appreciate you. We'll catch you on the next one. Peace out.